Hello chess friends and welcome to Yazarov Chess channel and welcome to the last day of the rapid section of the SuperUnited Croatia Rapid and Blitz chess tournament in 2024. Today it was a very intense day with some incredible performances, with almost an impossible performance by Fabiano Caruana. Fabiano won the event with an incredible 7.5 points out of the possible 9 rounds, which is really crazy. Fabiano in this top GM level gained 25 rating points in rapid chess, but also gained almost 3,000 rating performance in this elite chess level. Really spectacular performance, and now Fabiano is the winner of the rapid section of the Croatia tournament in 2024. Congratulations to Fabi. Nothing is of course over. Tomorrow the Blitz section will start, but this is really epic. This is an almost Magnus Carlsen performance. I've never seen such a performance in such an elite level of chess. Magnus Carlsen pull off sometimes such a crazy tournament, but now Fabiano really proved himself today, especially with 3 wins out of the last 3 rounds. Really immortal performance by Fabiano. So we're starting now the last day with an amazing gameplay by Maxime vachier-lagrave against Fabiano Caruana. In my opinion, really a beautiful game, which shows really the power of the Rui Lopez, but also an incredible endgame technique again performed by Fabiano Caruana. So in my opinion, one of the best chess games so far from this event for sure. So let's dive now into the game with the white pieces. Maxime vachier-lagrave opened with the move e4, e5 by Fabi. After a couple more moves, we're in the Rui Lopez. The Spanish game is on the board. Murphy defends, and after a couple more moves, we have now castling, bishop to c5. Pretty standard stuff of the Rui Lopez. We have now the move c3 by Maxime, trying of course to break and enter in the center. b5, bishop to b3, and now d6, fixing of course the structure here in the center of the board. d4, Maxime gets an extra tempo and of course breaks now on the queen side. Tries of course to do something here. Doesn't want to tolerate this space advantage that Fabiano built now in the center of the board. Fabiano keeps it calm, plays bishop to b7, rook to e1, and now knight to e7. And now comes, I think, sort of a first critical moment in the game. Here, Maxime vachier-lagrave played a certain theoretical novelty, a move that we haven't seen so far in chess history. a5, very interesting stuff. You're expanding on the queen side, but there is also a problem sometimes when you do something like this. You see now this move a5 is okay, progressive, it's attacking, but now the a5 pawn becomes also sort of an isolated pawn. It's not protected by any pawn, so from this point on, this pawn will become a very important strategic moment of this particular game. After a5, bishop to a7, and you see now also this pawn is very weak by Maxime vachier-lagrave. So I think in the opening stage, Maxime wanted to get more, and if you play risky like this with the white pieces, then you should continue to play sharp chess, and that's exactly what I think Maxime missed. First of all, let's see now this option if you try d takes e5. d takes e5 is not working because white will not be challenged here in the center of the board. Actually, then black is this resource, knight to e4, and you could lose the battle here around the square f2. The best way here in this position for white to proceed is to play bishop to g5. After something like knight to e4, now you can challenge the knight, and look at this. After knight to g5, knight to g5, now I think the idea by Maxime vachier-lagrave would be very annoying to handle here for Fabi, because now the f7 weak, you're pretty much forced to trade off the bishops, but now you can recapture here in the center of the board, and no knight on e4 is here like in the previous line that's targeting the f2 square. So this was, I think, the way to go for Maxime vachier-lagrave to spice up the game, to keep himself somehow in the game. But after bishop to a7, Maxime played a risky bishop to e3. Knight to e4 now by black again is very risky because of this line. Bishop to c2, you have to step back, then again we can take, and again black is pretty solid. But Fabi, after bishop to e3, played like a machine here. Fabi found the best ideas, which are really crazy what he sees in this fast time format. Many of us, I think, would simply grab the pawn and hope for the best, but Fabi played the optimal stockfish line with the move e takes d4. Really great stuff. Now after bishop to d4, again maybe not the best move by Maxime. C takes d4 better, and then you can take knight to e4, but again it gets very risky. Fabi didn't want to take out the centralized pawn while his king is still stuck in the center. Fabi again, after e takes d4 and bishop to d4 that Maxime played, Play now again the optimal move. Bishop takes d4, queen to d4. Okay, now this pawn is protected, but Fabi is not rushing. First of all, he plays a beautiful attack against the queen c5. The queen drops back, and now kingside castling. And here Fabi says, okay, you gained maybe some activities. You have so far protected your e4 pawn, but now comes the issue from the beginning. The a5 pawn is actually what Fabi is trying to do here. The a5 pawn is he's trying to take. After move kingside castling, you see Maxim vachier-lagrave is stuck to the defense of the e4 pawn, and now Fabi plays a very interesting move, knight to c6, and simply goes for the main weakness in the position. Really dynamic play by Fabi. He changed the direction of the attack, forced now Maxim to play a couple of passive moves, and suddenly black is taking over. From this point on, the game becomes a one-way ticket in black's favor. After knight to c6, queen to f4, we have knight takes a5. Why not? Why shouldn't we take? And now after bishop to c2, knight to c6, knight to f1. Look how many problems Maxim has to in order to get the pieces active. After queen to c7, knight to g3, of course, by Maxim trying to do something. Knight to f5, maybe before go for this pawn, but again, knight to e7. Here, calm move by Fabiano. He anticipates, of course, the possibility of the move knight to f5. And now again, Maxim rushed it. Again, he has problems with the e5 pawn. Maybe a better choice was for him, okay, to admit I made a mistake. Okay, I'm down a pawn, but at least I have rerouted my pieces towards the king side. Look at this. Many pieces are targeting on this side of the board. So probably here for Maxim, the best way was to proceed with h4. Okay, you say, I've lost a pawn, who cares? Black has a tough time to do something anyway on this side of the board. It's far away from the endgame stage. Now let's at least push it. Maybe after rook from a to d8, or maybe rook from f to e8. Then you push the pawn further. h6, of course, has to be, and then you try something like, I don't know, knight to h4, knight to f5 to do something, rook to e3, rook to g3. At least you would get use of your piece activity on this side of the board. This was the way to go for Maxim, but he rushed it, and basically with this move e5, he improved the only weakness that Fabi had in the position. Fabi has, of course, this weak backward pawn on d6, and now you're trading off. You're getting rid of, as I said, your opponent's main weakness. After e5, Fabi says thank you. D takes e5, knight to e5, and now rook from a to e8. Fabi included now all the pieces into the attack, and now you see there's not so much that can be done. This knight is controlling this square, this knight is controlling, of course, this square. I really liked more this choice by Maxim vachier-lagrave to be very, very aggressive and then just start to push the pawns. But after rook from a to e8, knight to d3, we have queen to c6. Now Fabi makes a simple threat. If you play f3, then the pawn structure is too weakened. So here Maxim tries queen to f3, and Fabi says again, thank you, I'll mess up the pawn structure. And now Fabi gets also an extra tempo, knight to c5, and now Maxim vachier-lagrave lost another pawn. So okay, it's okay, far away from completely winning position for black, but Fabi gained 2 pawns, has now this powerful bishop, has still a solid activity. Really messed up game here for Maxim vachier-lagrave. He tried to battle, Fabi retreat. We have rook takes a6, knight to d5, rook to e8, rook takes e8, and now knight to e4, and now bishop to f3. Look how Fabi continues the attacking flow with every move, at least simple threat. He's doing something. He's not allowing here, of course, Maxim to get back into the game. King to f1, we have h6, we have knight to d6. That was the issue. You cannot take here because you're vulnerable on back ranks. If you try instead of this move h6, if you try to do this one, then we can take, of course. Then of course black takes, and now after something like rook to e4, you would lose, of course, the battle on the 8th rank, checkmate. So great move again by Fabi. h6 again, keep it in calm. Here we have knight to d6, rook to b8, knight to f5, and now bishop to g4. Again, simple threat again here by Fabi, just trying to get rid of this piece, trying to push the pawn further here, trying to include, of course, also the rook into the game. After bishop to g4, now comes another critical moment of the game. Here Maxim tried a knight to d4. Very important, I think, sometimes to centralize the piece in the center, like Maxim did, but now it's not working. It's simply too slow. A better choice was to simply play knight to e4. knight to e4 would be very interesting, because if you try something like bishop to f5, then you take, and then you look at this. After knight to f6, you have also this one. Maybe you can go somehow for this pawns, but what I think Maxime should have done is somehow try to simplify the game, going into the fully endgame stage, maybe with one minor piece on the board, and try to battle, try to maybe somehow get a draw. Despite after knight to d4, here Fabi continues, of course, with his plan. b4, great move, and after move b4 and f3 that Maxime played. Now another beautiful move here by Caruana. He played now the move b takes c3. He doesn't care for this bishop. If you take here, then it doesn't matter. C takes b2, and you cannot stop this pawn. You will lose your bishop around the square b1 again. So great tactics again by Fabiano Caruana. After b takes c3, that's why b takes c3, and now knight to e3. Look at this great active play by Fabi. We have king to e2, knight takes c2, we have now f takes g4, and now knight takes d4, c takes d4. Okay, let's stop and evaluate the position. Maxime got the plan working. Okay, he's saying, I'm down a pawn, my king is closer to the action, maybe I can somehow get a draw of this position. I'm down a pawn, but the issue is again that the pieces, the pawns are all vulnerable to black's attack. So that's why Fabi continues with rook to d8. Here you see Maxime has to now defend the g4 pawn, and Fabi takes another pawn. Now Fabi is up 2 pawns and has now completely winning endgame. Rook to a4, Fabi is centralizing the knight, delivers a check, and now good move. g5. Simply supporting the rook on f4. The rook is connected to the pawn, the knight is connected to the rook. So you see now how black's pieces are playing in perfect harmony. They're glued together, they're very compact. Rook to a8, check, doesn't matter. Fabi pushes the pawn further, and after rook to d4, knight to f2, Fabi is of course getting the king closer to the action. Now finally Fabi has centralized the king and has now all of the pieces on the optimal square. So you see, with this couple of checks that Fabi delivered, with this couple of active moves, Fabi managed to even get the king closer to the action. White's king was closer eventually, but now Fabi has really all of the pieces, as I mentioned, simply on the optimal squares. After rook to a5, we have rook to king to e5, rook to a6. Now comes this idea, rook to d2, and after rook to h6, another, I would say, mistake here by Maxime vachier-lagrave. A better choice is somehow to stay here on the c file, but he played now the move rook to h6, and Fabi found a beautiful endgame idea. Maybe if you like, pause the video and try to see now the best idea here for black. I would dare even to say black moves and wins the game. What's now the brilliant endgame idea that Fabi spotted here? Okay, Fabi found here spectacular rook takes f2. Great endgame technique, because after king to f2 and c2, in this position, believe me or not, Maxime vachier-lagrave resigned. So what's the issue? After rook to c6, only move of course for white. Now you have this one. Knight to b4 comes of course with an attack against the rook, but also comes with the defense for the pawn. But the issue is that in the next move, knight to d3 is going to happen, and then the promotion on c1 will happen. Whatever you do, for instance, you're trying to do this one, rook to c3, then we attack the rook, and then we have knight to d3 and c1. Of course, you retreat something like this, we can even promote immediately, allow here white to take, but now you have the fork against the rook and the king. The same thing happens if, for instance, if you try to deliver a check, doesn't matter, again we'll attack the rook again with the same pattern. c1, you promote the queen, and now you deliver the fork, you pick up the rook, and with upper piece, of course. This is completely winning endgame here for black. Amazing game by Fabiano Caruana. Let's repeat again. Fabi got 7.5 points out of the possible 9 points in this rapid section. Immortal performance, very great stuff. As I mentioned also, he gained 25 rating points in this tournament only, and got almost a 3000 rating performance. Congratulations again, Fabi, for winning the rapid section of the Croatia SuperUnited Rapid and Blitz chess tournament in 2024. Okay, I hope that you enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed it a lot. Interesting ideas of Leroy Lopez for sure. If you want to see some other games that we have covered so far in the event, check out our commented chess games so far. Here are some links of some games that we have analyzed before. And if you like this content, hit the subscribe button. See you soon with some more videos. And what do we say in the end? Chess is the best, of course.